Goodbye, CZ. So, I've been saying this for a while that there is no way in the empirical nature of what we're about to create here when it comes to Bitcoin being the prime asset of the United States of America, that an exchange run by a Chinese national is going to be allowed to prosper, right? So there's a lot of different perspectives here, but I've been saying this forever. Get your Bitcoin off of Binance and figure out where to hold it safely, because this is not looking good. And obviously today, the DOJ has come to a deal, a quote-unquote deal, with Binance, where they'll pay a $4 billion fine, apparently. CZ has to resign, and he's gone. And I'm assuming, I would bet, I don't think this has been announced yet, but I will bet that the next CEO is going to be either European or American. Let's see what happens, but that's what I'm predicting. Now, I'm trying to get this video done quickly because right now the weather's good, but it's about to start pouring torrential style rain. So, but really, there's not much to say here. I've been saying this for months. If you watch just on my previous podcast that I did with BTC Sessions, I said, let's talk about from a conspiracy perspective, and look what's happened, right? The one thing that they didn't really attack Binance. I told you there was going to be two options. Either Binance comes into the fold of the United States regulatory environment and purview, or it's finished. And basically what they chose was that they were just going to come under the purview of the United States regulatory environment. And that's what's happened here, right? Every other nation in the world was not strong enough to protect them. I think it was Joe Consorti who was talking from the Bitcoin layer, who was talking about the fact that, if they can identify that Binance US was basically, commingling and having the same operational direction as Binance Global, then the US now has jurisdiction over Binance Global. And that looks like what's pretty much happened, right? Why would this guy take this plea? Now, he's going to go away being a very, very wealthy man, right? He's taking a deal. He's going to go away being a very, very wealthy man. But he is definitely not going to be in charge of an exchange. Now, here's what I predict the future of Binance to be. I predict that the future of Binance will be further coming under the purview of the United States regulatory environment. I believe that they will, follow the path of Coinbase in the United States, and you're going to see Binance become good boys for the industry. I predict. I don't think Binance will be pumping up shitcoins. I don't think Binance will be creating platforms for shitcoins. I don't think they'll be doing any of that. I think Binance will eventually either be bought out or come under the purview of the United States regulatory environment. That's just all it is, right? That's what's going to happen here. These guys are an enemy for Bitcoin, because what they're doing is creating high-risk environments for people to speculate. This guy has been known for saying that he's got a 99% BNB allocation and a 1% Bitcoin allocation, right? That's what you get. That's what you get. We know where your mindset is already. We know what you want to do. We know that you want to create a portfolio for a platform for speculation, and you've just had it dealt to you. This, by the way, from a grander perspective, as I've been saying, the world will fall under the regulatory purview of the United States, because the United States of America wants Bitcoin to be a prime asset controlled within the borders of the United States, and it will secure that regulatory purview before allowing an ETF to come out. Now, here's the amazing thing about this, right? As they've done this, now Binance will become a good boy and a good player in the space. Next, what will happen is that an ETF will be approved. Well, even before an ETF is approved, I think a guaranteed classification of Bitcoin status as a commodity will come out, and then Bitcoin being the ETF being approved will be next. These dominoes are moving faster than anyone has ever imagined, and the entire full force of the U.S. regulatory agencies, the DOJ, the SEC, everyone is coming down upon all these morons to clear them out. I wouldn't have guessed that you would have had FTX and Binance come under the fold in this cycle. I would have guessed that Binance fell next cycle. Don't get it twisted. Binance has fallen. Binance has fallen. Binance will no longer be the Binance that everyone knew that you could do all of it. Do you really think that all they did was say, "Hey, CZ, you resign and pay a $4 billion fine and continue operations as normal"? What are we talking about here, right? It's not going to happen. Binance will come under the purview of the United States regulatory environment, and it will play by the laws of the United States. And that's exactly what I said was going to happen, and that's one domino down. The next dominoes will fall slowly. If you have got any Bitcoin on Binance, I highly recommend you move it very quickly to a self-custody environment, which you should be doing anyway. And I think Binance at this point has fallen, just like FTX. I wasn't expecting Binance and FTX to fall. There's two ways to make these shitcoin casinos fall, right? First is the way that FTX went down, which is you don't want to play by the ball, you don't want to play ball, you want to continue messing around, cool, we'll just take apart your company. You don't think that there was a conversation that happened with CZ after FTX and say, hey, you want that fate too? You seen what Sam's going through. Do you want that fate too? We saw you on video saying that you were all philanthropic and stuff. You want to be philanthropic in jail too? And CZ said, you know what? I'm out. I'm going to be rich. I'm out. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Bitcoin's great. I probably own a bunch of Bitcoin, and I'm out of this game. CZ did the smart thing. Sam did the stupid thing here. So Binance is probably going to come under the purview of the U.S. regulatory environment. They'll start playing ball. They'll probably go in the way of Coinbase. They'll start delisting a bunch of tokens, not providing liquidity for a bunch of tokens, etc., etc. And we can get to moving on to a Bitcoin environment. I don't care what anyone says. If you want to comment under this video and start talking about how all these shit coins are good opportunities for people to innovate and all this other stupid stuff, don't. I'm not reading it. I don't care what you think. I have zero care in the world for what your opinion is on shitcoins being valuable to the world. They are securities, and they should be registered as securities. So now we can move forward. Now we can have a Bitcoin spot ETF. Now we can move forward with the US being the preeminent jurisdiction for Bitcoin in the entire world. Today is extremely bullish. I guarantee you that Binance and as FTX was doing, Binance was also playing around with the Bitcoin price, trying to move it and manipulate it to create liquidity for their own tokens and all the other shit coins that they created a platform for. That is out the way now. CZ is done. I told you, I've said this in many videos, anytime someone tells you that their main intention for making money is to give it away, you can never trust them. And we don't know the full reasoning as to why they've, what they got him for, but that will come out soon enough, hopefully, and we'll be able to see exactly what it is. But you can just never trust someone who has all these philanthropical desires to save the entire world and take nothing for themselves. I like to trust the selfish desire in people. That's what mentors of mine have always taught me, and that's what I focus on. So at the end of the day, this is extremely bullish for Bitcoin. CZ is done. Binance is done. It's under the purview of the U.S. regulatory environment. FTX is out the way. I would have never guessed that all of these things would have happened in this bear market, but here we are. Next thing is the spot Bitcoin ETF, and despite all of this shit, there are still only 3 rules to Bitcoin. Step number 1, you buy Bitcoin. Step number 2, you shut the fuck up. And step number 3, you get fabulously wealthy.